Hi, Casey. Thought I'd put together a little video for you on the basics of using the job manager. And we would start out going to the dashboard here, which you hit after going to WP admin and then entering your username and password. From there, pretty much everything to do with the job tool is down here in the job manager. So I'll click job manager. And contrary to what I thought originally, and probably what you thought, is we do not want to be in the applications area to create an application. Applications here is where we will view applications that have been submitted. Where we want to be is in settings, which I believe is where it takes us to start with. Then we want to click on app form settings. And from there, it seems to me, I played with it a little bit, that everything is pretty much possible except for tables. And what I mean by tables is where you have the education area, how it's broken down into tables by high school, college, and then it asks um, for specific information about each one. So we may have to organize that just a little bit differently, but I think it'll be possible. Uh, so what I'll do at this point is I'm going to pull up your application here, and I took the liberty of putting in the top information for you, the disclaimer and things like that in this field here, since it involves some formatting. So I did that for you. Um, Next step, I'm just going to start with the first field and type in date. These categories here, I haven't used them, but I imagine that uh, will specify if someone's applying for a certain position. I put an aggregate and milling in here just for testing, but say someone wants to apply to the aggregate, to a position that deals with aggregate. You can choose that this field only applies to that type of job. For instance, if you were working in a supermarket and you wanted a stock person, you might put in, are you able to lift 100 pounds? But that may not apply to any other position. So you may use this field for that. So I'll start with date. Uh, I did not see this one, but I imagine you probably want to show this field in the application list. One that you may not want to show is that disclaimer area. Since it's just a label, just a big heading, I chose not to show it. And I chose also to block it from email. So I want to show this field. Data would be if it had, if it was a label, you would type, as I did here, the actual data of the label. Another example of a label would be the note that you have down on the bottom of the first page. Criminal convictions will not automatically. That would be considered a note or a label, and we would choose. I suppose we could choose either heading or HTML code. HTML code is a fancy way of saying text that can have some formatting, but you can very easily just type in plain text. But you might want to just try a heading for things like that. So we put in the text input. We do want to make it a mandatory field, which will require that they enter it before they continue. Okay. And you can't see it on the screen because I didn't make it very big, but there's an add new field button at the bottom here that I will click. It's off to the right. And it gives us a new field to enter. I will type in position applied for. That's a text input. Inventory. Show this in the list. Add new field. So that's the basics. As you'll run down, you'll kind of drop in all those fields as needed. There may even be some that don't apply to the online version. I'm not sure. But one other thing, yes, I did want to note checkboxes. It's easy. Just I wouldn't have thought about it if I didn't know how to do it. The first one being, okay, let's take just for the sake of example here, are willing to work overtime. I want to make that radio button. Now you'll see here radio buttons and check boxes. The big difference between them is that radio buttons, you're only allowed to choose one option. So if I had chosen check boxes and then I had a yes and a no, the applicant would be able to choose both yes and no. But with radio buttons, you're only able to choose one. So we want radio buttons in this case. And it's as simple as just typing in the options to choose in this field here. So we want to give them the ability to choose yes or no. And that's about it, I believe. Again, I didn't exhaustively go through the application, but just glancing over it, it looks like that will cover everything. Again, when you get to education, the first table, I imagine what you might want to do is create a heading called education. Below that, create another heading called high school. Then start entering your school name and location. Yeah, I know it's going to be a little tedious because you'll have to duplicate each field um, under high school, college, and then business, tech, trade, or post college. Um, so the good thing is it's possible. You have full flexibility to manage the fields, but the initial entry, might take just a little bit of time. But hopefully it pays off, and hopefully this video helps you out a little bit. One more thing, definitely want to make sure to update the application form at the end, and also not to remove this first field that I entered for you. It has a blank label because there wasn't really a label to it, but it does have text in there that is an intro to your form, the disclaimer and things like that. So don't remove that field. When you're all done, click on Update Application Form. Let's see, we got some errors there. It didn't affect the form though. Okay, if you get errors, don't worry about it. It looks like everything still works just as expected. There's our checkboxes, date, position applied for. Um, and that's about it. Good luck to you, and thanks again, Casey, for watching this. Any questions, just let me know. Thanks.